Welcome back to Top Two, people. It's your boy Corian, Johnny.
What's up, guys?
We got to get Austin on here, man. I keep
Austin,
forgetting to ask him every
he's a busy
time.
man too. He's a busy man too.
He is a busy man.
He's a grinder currently.
Maybe after this series, we can hit him back up and do something. I feel
Oh no,
bad.
for real, we're definitely overdue. He,
But,
he did flag on us. We did try though, like
we,
very recently, not with probably within the month. Yeah, I would say maybe a little outside of June or inside of June.
yeah, that sounds right. That sounds
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Let's get in. Let's get on to the show. Let's get on to the show.
This is part three
Hmm.
of the QBs in the NFL. This is the middle pack. This is your average QB or a little above, a little below average QB. So this is what 20 through 11 today.
Yeah, not really the guys you want to get you over the hump. Let's just say that. Maybe towards the end of the list, but
Some guys, but some
yeah.
guys are young. Well, at least for my list, some guys are young. Or
No,
they're
yeah, my
just
list. There's definitely a man or two that will get you over the hump. There's just so many talent that it's kind of hard to sneak some of these guys in the top 10. But we'll get to that later.
so let's go right to you at number 20.
20. I got Carson Wentz, and my one problem with him is he holds on the ball a little too long. He's relied on an offensive line that's slowly, obviously, will. Where did they win the Super Bowl in 2018? Kind of just degraded
Yeah.
injury wise, and just kind of they kept the same regime when it came to the offensive line, but they're getting old. They're all in their mid to early 30s, so that's usually the age where they only play about 8 to 10 games, and when they do, it's not as efficient as it was before. So that, including the fact that he's never had, I would even say, always been outside of the top 20 receiving core his whole career. I really can't think of one year that he's like he had Alshon Jeffrey, who was a 50 ball guy that is probably one of his best receivers in his career, and that's not really saying too much considering what a lot of these other guys are working with nowadays. So
Yeah.
he's going to the Colts where they don't really have a top weapon, but they have a lot of efficient guys and they have a good run game, amazing offensive line. So I think that'll cut down on a lot of his problems. And another thing is he relies on his arm strength a little too much with throws that anticipation throws, which obviously led to his 15 interceptions this year, which was second highest in his career, which obviously shouldn't be happening, which was, I think, tied for his rookie year, maybe one less. So shouldn't be happening when you're a fifth, 6 year guy, especially when you're a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Obviously, he didn't play there, but
Yeah,
been there.
for sure. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Decision making at times as well is not the best, but
And 3 years, the 3 years prior, I think he had seven. He averaged about 7 interceptions a year. I think it was exactly 7 interceptions. So I think he was like 80 for 21 or something like that in 3 years. 3 years prior to this one. So he's an efficient quarterback. And just the lack of receiving crew, and obviously the offensive line is gonna hinder a lot of the anticipation and stuff, and obviously he's gonna have to force stuff. So we'll see. I feel like the Colts is gonna be a whole new opportunity, especially going in there with Frank Reich. I feel like it's gonna be make or break for him, obviously, and he's obviously capable of doing it, in my opinion.
solid number 20. I had him at 23.
Yeah,
Solid
I
20.
remember. I remember.
My 20 though is Trevor Lawrence.
I wanted to move him higher. I felt like I had him a little too low last video. I had a couple guys that definitely I don't think deserve to be in front of him. But go on. What you got on him?
He's a great QB that we've seen in college. He's compared to Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, blah blah blah. But he's a rookie. We don't know how he fares with the NFL talent on the defensive side of the ball. Everything's a second and a half quicker, maybe even 2 seconds quicker in the league. So Can he get the ball off quicker? Can he read quicker? Can he decide quicker? It's all about at this point taking what you did in college. I don't want to say throw it to the side, but some of that stuff that he got away with. I mean, well, some of these
No, yeah.
throws, they were just good throws, but you just some of those you don't make in
No,
the
yeah,
moment,
100%, 100%.
and
I
he
know
got
exactly
away
what
with
you're
it.
saying,
But
especially against the lower competition and stuff.
exactly,
Yeah,
playing against teams like that one team I'm thinking of.
I think
Can't
he's
think
only
of.
really had one bad game that I can
Yeah,
think of off the top of my head. I'm not a big college football guy, so I don't really know, and I didn't really evaluate him too much because I knew where he was going, and what I did watch, it looks pretty clear cut. Like he's the one thing I got to say about him, he's a winner, dude.
hmm
You're getting that in him. He's lost 1-2 games in 4 years. That's like unheard of. Out of besides being like an Alabama quarterback, that was like riding a team, but he was without him, they wouldn't have won. They probably would have lost at least an eighth to a sixth of those games, in my opinion. So you're getting a winner, and I think the only way that it can really end up bad for him is if the coaching. Uh, I can't really see messing him up because it's such a good prospect. But obviously, the Colts didn't really do much playoff wise, and further on with Andrew Luck. So, and you see what happened with him. So we'll see. Exactly, you're right. Because it's just so weird. Like we all thought Andrew Luck was going to come in the league and at least win like 2-3 Super Bowls, and he's already out of the league. You never know with the guys like that, especially
yeah.
guys that come from money too, that don't really need it as much as say like uh, any other guy.
Mhm.
He's definitely a rich boy that doesn't really need the that big NFL contract like most.
Another thing, in college, at least this past year, he had 68 rushing attempts, 200 yards, 8 touchdowns. So, how does Urban Meyer implement his running ability? Is like, do you want to just say no, be a pocket presence, and you have to get out of the pocket, get out of the pocket?
That would be my only case for sure. And
Yeah, I don't
you
think
can
you
give him
do
a
some of
baseball
these.
coach for sliding because you need to protect the gold, or
Yeah,
you're gonna
I
have a
don't.
bunch of yeah.
I don't think you do any design running play unless you say like in a red zone or goal line. Obviously,
I don't know
stuff like
because
that.
you ever see Peyton Manning do that goal line little
Well,
fake? Because I
Peyton,
feel like that'd be the last thing they would be expecting. So you never know something
Peyton,
like that. I know what you're saying.
yeah, but he was never an
That's the last thing
athletic
they'd be
guy.
thinking. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, in college, he had decent wheels if you go back, but
Yeah,
I think yeah, this slowly started to rust. Let's head on to number 19 though. Who you got there? Actually, you want me to go first?
yeah.
I got Jimmy Garoppolo, which is a guy that he got the 49ers there, but with injury history and this year, I don't know if he was injured going into the year or got banged up early, but he was not up to par this year. I know that obviously injuries crumbled the team around him, but in that instance, you got to be the guy that steps up. And I think when he played to like week 8, I know my Dolphins killed him. He threw like 2 or 3 interceptions. He looked completely lost. So I know uh, Debo Samuels. I'm pretty sure he got injured early, and I know Brandon Ayuk. I think he might have missed a few games too. And George, I think honestly the whole offense was pretty banged up. So can't really put too much blame on him. So when he has been there, he's put up the numbers, but obviously he has the missed opportunities in the Super Bowl that everyone's going to look at. But you gotta accept the fact that he made it there. Even though I know the defense was amazing and the scheme was amazing, but uh, and average quarterbacks just don't make it to the Super Bowl. They just don't.
That's true. He also had Tom Brady as a mentor slash trainer. I don't know what you want to call him, but
No, yeah, that definitely implements a lot into one's thought process and definitely their development for sure. but it also he's already went like 30 because he got to sit the bench for 2 or 3 years. That's also if you're having injuries that are not that early on, but that age, it's only going to get worse and worse. It's not going to get better. So I see why they drafted Trey Lance for sure, especially the potential he has compared to Jimmy Garoppolo. His ceiling's already hit. So
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
so it's only going to get worse from here. I feel like.
Well, my 19 is a love hate type of guy. Ryan Fitzpatrick. You love him. He puts up the numbers, and in one game, he just like, well, he's back on the bench. So he started what 7 games last year, played in 9, um, 13 touchdowns, 8 picks. I don't know. It was just a mediocre type of year. He was under a lot of pressure, I feel, because he had this great QB prospect and great Tua behind him or in front of him, behind him,
I'm
wherever.
sure
But
he knows. He knows.
yeah, he knows. But it was going when I heard that Fitz was getting a start. I was like, this is going to be bad because he's going to have so much pressure because he's going to have to either play.
I think with his age and what he's been, I think he's past. I think he's past all that because that's what people are bringing him in for, to be that 1 year guy. That's what Washington's doing right now. He's going to be that 1 year guy. Next year, they're obviously going to draft a quarterback because Fitzpatrick's
Well,
not going to be.
it was weird because like Tua, he wasn't ready. They claim, and so the Dolphins. The previous year they started this whole trading picks, trading players for first, seconds, thirds, and all this other crap. And so it was kind of like they wanted to at least be a playoff team, and then there was like, no, let's not be a playoff team, or let's,
I know what you mean. You're like, it's kind of suck. It's
yeah.
asking on a team that's not going all in, and you know for a fact they're not going all in.
And so when you have a player like him who's hot and cold, kind of like an NBA like J.R. Smith, like you love J.R. Smith because he's just catching and shooting, and you hate him because it's like, well, do you want to make a shot today or do you want to wait until like tomorrow or something? So it's kind of like, do you want to play well today or do you want to not play well today? Like, cause I felt like they were like, we don't want you to get too good, but we don't want you to do too bad to make it obvious. So it's just like play in the middle.
I feel like this year he did have a winning record when he was playing the
He
team.
did.
I watched every single game he played, obviously. So that what I seen was he had a rookie offensive or 2 rookie offensive tackles going into the year, and an offensive line that was just shuffling in and out of injuries. So that's obviously going to play a factor in the part. And his just elude of the pass rush because it was very frequent, and he was a man of freaking. He was up there with the top that I've seen when it comes to that. Scanning the field, that's another thing he does really well. But one thing I noticed, it takes a lot for him to. He puts his everything into some of these throws. Like you can tell he's about a 40-year-old man when he throws. Sometimes his whole shoulder just almost like disappears when it's in his throwing motion because he's putting everything into it. So I feel like that's gonna wear on him eventually, especially going into the team like this where he might have to play all 16 games. So who's their backup?
Isn't Heineke back for 1 year?
Oh,
And they
well, I
bring him
thought
back?
maybe they had someone that we're gonna maybe throw in the last couple weeks of the game or the season, but I don't know. Yeah, he's gonna end up playing all 17 games. I feel like so.
Yeah, it seems like it's gonna happen.
Hopefully, he holds up because he's a very sturdy guy. Doesn't really get hurt too frequently, and when he does, he sucks it up. But that's a lot of beating for someone his age. A lot of throwing.
Yeah.
Let's hit on this 18, right? You ready?
Yeah.
I got Ben Roethlisberger, which is a proven winner, 2-time Super Bowl champion. One thing I gotta say about him, he did I think he lost like 20 or 30 pounds. There's a video that came out recently. I don't know if that's gonna really help him or not, because I feel like he relied on because a lot of your throwing motion and a lot of the power you get from throwing comes from your core. When you're a big guy like that, you have core strength. Like you notice like pitchers in the MLB, like they're a lot bottom heavy guys, top heavy guys. So like that's where they get their power from. And I don't know if that's gonna really help him. I don't that might help keep him in games, maybe help him play 15, 16 games instead of 12, 10 games, whatever he's been playing on the last 2 or 3 years. But other than that, I don't know what that's going to do. But last year he threw 33 and 10 with didn't really have an efficient running game like he was accustomed to in his career. James Conner, I don't know if people just figured him out or he fell off or what, but definitely didn't put up the numbers near compared to last year. I don't know if it was the offensive line.
The O-line for sure, and just people didn't have enough film on James Conner because he was the backup of Le'Veon Bell, and that's another video I want to get into with running backs because I have a lot to say about Le'Veon Bell.
33 and 10 though, that's like I can't. And he's in better shape than last year. I can't really see him doing worse than that, especially with the team. Yeah, they brought in Najee. I feel like that's gonna pad his passing stats not like too much. Maybe give him a little extra 400 yards instead of probably the 200 James Conner had. Maybe a couple extra TDs. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they've added any pass catchers. But I know they brought back Juju, obviously. So other than that, we'll see. We'll see. Their offensive line got worse.
Yeah, for sure.
Castro and brought in Try Turner. So we'll see how that plays out. You got 18.
Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Played.
Okay.
Played 10 games. First year guy last year, 13-5 before he got hurt. He had a decent year with a bad team, but like I'm looking at the stat and it's like, oh my gosh. Because looking at Ryan Fitzpatrick's stats, right? Ryan Fitzpatrick, the most times he's been sacked in the season is 38, and he's played 12 games that year.
I know.
Joe Burrow played 10 games and got sacked 32 times.
He was on pace for pretty much 50 plus sacks. So
that's honestly
bone crushing.
Yeah, it's as a rookie, and you just every time you drop back, you're just worried about, am I getting up after I get hit, or is this over with? And unfortunately, it wasn't, good.
Yeah, I know.
That wasn't a good looking injury. It wasn't a good injury at all.
Oh no, yeah, he got, a few times it didn't look like he was going to get back up, but he got back up, and that was devastating. But just, I feel like AJ Green and Joe Mixon being injured and kind of out of play, I know Mixon didn't really do near what he's been doing. That kind of hurt him a little bit. And just the offensive line, obviously, I think Zach Taylor, his offensive scheme is not really one that's up to par with the NFL currently. So all that's going to play a part. And on top of that, he killed it. So there's not really too much I've seen bad in his game, obviously, besides maybe he could have got rid of the ball a little more. But that's like, I'd really have to break down the tape to see like all the sacks. So I think it's probably offensive line's fault and situation stuff, because you're not going to want to throw it down or freaking, unlike when you're trying to win the game on 4th down and it's like 4 minutes left, you don't want to throw the ball away, or you're not going to throw the ball away on 3rd down and stuff like that. And 2nd down, you're going to want to try to make that play. So that's when people usually get eaten up by the sack monsters late in the game like that. So you never know.
One thing I'm looking at is sack percentage. So when you drop back, he has a 7.3% chance of being sacked. You may think of it a little like, well, that's not that much. Well, when you drop back, you probably throw 30 to 35 passes a game, right? Not including him scrambling out over maybe a penalty or something.
They have a huge dink and dunk offense too, so a lot
Yeah,
of those
and
dropbacks, there's no chance of him getting sacked. So that's also, I feel like if he had to drop back in like shotgun, it would probably be like 20%, like 30%, something crazy. So I'm sure, yeah, it was
it's
probably
a
a dumb down scheme. Yeah, exactly.
that's what they had to do pretty much.
And that's, I think, what he was already coming into. Zach Taylor, he's not going to be there after this year. I don't think so.
Shouldn't.
He shouldn't even be here right now. That's really giving him a huge chance, but they must really believe in the guy. I don't know. It is kind of a bitch to find a new coach. It's hard to hit on
For
these
sure.
days.
For sure.
Well, what are we on? 17. I got Joe Burrow. I pretty much said what I need to say about him. He killed it. Everything you pretty much asked him to do was on point with this decision making, with timing on throws, with finding reads. What?
It didn't sound like you said decision making. Sound like
What did it sound like? I got
I'm a PG type of guy, so I won't say it.
Incision.
You just think of a word that starts with an S. It's not PG. I'm not gonna say it. I'm a PG type of guy. My mom looks at this. I don't want any trouble here.
Let me get a sip of water.
Yeah. My nephews look at this, or nephew.
No misverbiage. No misverbiage here. Whatchamacallit? I think with what he got thrown into, I know that he had offensive weapons and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, but outside of that, he had not really much of anything. Not a defense, not a coach, not a running game, not a line. So I don't. He did what he could. I think he threw 26 and 10. So he might have even done better than that. I don't have it written down, but that's about as much as you can ask for, in my opinion, if not better. Especially comparing his stats to other people's, maybe like Baker Mayfield stats in his first year, and like especially Josh Allen. I think he went like 10 and 12. So like fantastic compared to him, especially in this situation. Maybe a better receiving core, but definitely not a better team.
Well, my 17 is Big Ben. So 33 and 10, like you said, everything about the arm motion, about him losing weight. I mean, well, you got Najee Harris, you touched on that as well too. But the defense is going to be the biggest thing. How much of a load can they carry? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, keep him off the field.
Yeah.
We did get in better shape, but you don't want to keep the 35-year-old man playing 70% of the game too much, That's devastating, especially when they're playing in Pittsburgh. They might not be acclimated to all these AFC teams that are in the South, especially like the Tennessees and whatnot. Houston.
Tennessee's been dirty.
I know. That's another quarterback I'm gonna hit on later.
I will too.
Oh heck yeah. You got anything else to say about Big Ben, or you good on that?
Shout out to Antonio Holmes. So
no, yeah, for real. I had a huge Instagram argument with some kid saying that play was overrated, or the throw. It made me pretty upset.
That whole play was just like legendary, man.
It was disgusting, dude. It was, I don't know, dude, just like, that's like, have you ever heard like the Game of Inches speech that Al Pacino gives in that one movie? That's like literally the definition, bro. He could have thrown that literally a centimeter more to the right and it would have been off. It's just everything clicked right there. The throw, the catch, it was just perfect. But off topic, let's get on 16. I got Matt Ryan, another former Super Bowl entry, not Victor, but he was looking that way. But it's hard to, I wouldn't really, if he was on any other team, I wouldn't really set him up here at 16. I'd probably have him there, probably low 20s. But with what he has right now and freaking oh yeah, I forgot they got rid of Julio. So Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts. Hmm. This must I don't know if this is pre Julio or I just forgot. I wouldn't really put him at 16. I would just say he's proven, and I think he had to get on. Probably he was probably on the field a little too much this year. That definitely changes everything though. But if I had to say one thing, yeah, his defense was probably the worst in the NFL. His offensive line, Alex Mack, and I think they got rid of him, and it kind of everything was just depleted. It was kind of like the Philadelphia Eagles situation. Everything was just, except they didn't really keep a lot of those guys. It was just pretty much wiped out of everything. So they're pretty much in restart mode, and he's in the middle of it, and they got Kyle Pitts as an addition to lost Julio Jones. So it's a tough spot. I think 16 is fair because he's a proven guy, and he's at one point was one of the top passers in the NFL. But let's just see if he can somehow knock the rust off and find a way to get back there, because it was hard to ask a lot for him, putting him in the situation he was in, especially considering with the weapons he did have there, he made the best out of them. So gotta say that Todd Gurley played like Dookie. Freaking Calvin Ridley would had 1,400 yards, and I know they have that one tight end that was pretty efficient too. So what he did have, he utilized the most out of it. So we'll see what he can do this year. That was a weird one though. I completely I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have put him at 16 if I think his offense is, especially he hasn't really meshed with a tight end since freaking Tony Gonzalez. So we'll see how that goes. Who's your 16?
It's Matt Ryan.
Dude, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I had a feeling because you haven't said him yet, so I knew it was coming up. Dang, we've been really close with these last three.
Yeah, I originally had him at 10, and then I thought about it. And I was like, he is not a top 10 QB in my eyes.
No, yeah, 2 years ago he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching him play, I had Calvin Ridley in fantasy for a stretched amount of weeks.
Huge yard after catch guy, so you got to take that into consideration.
But like watching Matt Ryan, he's like a one read type of guy. He really, like, watching some of the games, you have Julio Jones as a receiver. Julio Jones, a top 2 receiver in the league, and you're barely looking his way. Understand? Yes, he might be double teamed, or they may have good coverage, but it's Julio Jones. This one-on-one coverage, I throw it to Julio Jones on one-on-one coverage 90% of the time.
No, yeah, I think he's in love with Calvin Ridley. I haven't really watched the film I think 16 was kind of just going off of prior knowledge, in my opinion, putting him there when I did. But I think he's definitely, the numbers Calvin Ridley's putting up, he's found his guy there.
Yeah, and the only thing about Ridley for me is he's had those good numbers when Julio was on the field. He was off the field. He was looking at guys like what's his name?
I didn't even think about that. Number 1 corners. Yeah.
It was not even necessarily number 1 corners. It was just he wasn't looking at his top guy. He was like, oh, my top guy's being guarded by their top guy. Cancels out. Let me just look at Calvin. Oh, now Calvin's our top guy. Let me just look at, I can't think of the other guy's name. But he was just looking at him, and he was throwing it, and then it was just like, well,
yeah, the top quarterbacks, they scan the field like lasers. I know exactly what you're saying.
He doesn't scan anything. He just,
no.
I said that's one thing that pisses me off, and that's why I didn't want Kyle Pitts to go there, because if he goes there, pretty much I knew Julio's going to be gone, and then now that Julio's gone, it's Ridley, and hopefully he can mesh with him, but then if it's not Pitts, then it's just going to be a random guy or just Calvin Ridley. But Pitts isn't going.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be. That's
I
gonna be
don't want to
fun.
think about it. It's gonna be. It's like, jeez.
That's gonna be a headache. Hopefully, yeah. Tannehill, he just needs to get over that hump. That's it. But let's get on to what, number 15? Where we at? Oh yeah, I don't have any notes for 15, but yeah, it's Derek Carr. All right, so Derek Carr. How you had him? Oh, Derek Carr's your number 15, I'm guessing.
Yep.
But with his supporting cast has been rather lackluster outside of the Amari Cooper era. And when it was in the Amari Cooper era, he was going 28-6 and 32-13. That's when they had a defense as well. And I feel like John Gruden almost definitely they've downgraded on his game. Definitely
He's playing old school football, new school football.
Yeah. Because they're so ground and pound, and I feel like it did work because he did go 27-9 with his only receiver being Darren Waller. Outside of that, I don't really. Let's see. Were they? Oh God. Yeah. Who was? Could you think of any wide receivers for the Raiders off the top of your head outside of Ruggs?
Right now,
anything last year?
Aguilar, yeah. Who didn't do anything?
Oh
did?
Yeah, no, who did do anything, or who Aguilar. did.
Aguilar.
But, let's see. Yeah, Aguilar. He had 900 yards. Renfro had 650. So he's working with some pretty bare bones stuff. I don't know. I feel like he gave Aguilar the contract that he just got, pretty much, in my opinion, because he wasn't doing that in Philly. Not near. What you got to say though? Because I have a feeling
he's being criticized a lot, and you had to give him credit where it's due. But I understand why he gets criticized the way he does. It's because it's just consistent, like sort of mediocre numbers. I mean, 29 or what, 27-9, right?
Wait, 27-9. Oh yeah, 27-9.
It's good, but if you want to go, I mean, well, partially it's not his fault. It's the team.
No, yeah.
Look at the defense that he has to rely on.
Offensive lines is old and outdated. And outside of Josh Jacobs, and Darren Waller, there's not too much young youth and Henry Ruggs, but
you have to do something, because he can put up the numbers. He can look good, but in a certain analyst's eyes, he's like, oh, this guy, why is he? No, he needs to be traded and try and get a better guy. And it's like, no, he's proven that he can win. Look at 2016, 2017?
No, yeah,
it's like MVP Derek Carr.
No, yeah, he's been in the Pro Bowl 3 years, and his stats, I don't know with what he's just a whatchamacallit, automatic 4,000 yard type of guy. So this year I think that's going to elevate to the 4 or 5 range, especially if Henry Ruggs can figure out his game, really translate his speed to the NFL and show what he can do. And hopefully he's not a John Ross kind of guy. I think that would definitely help him too, because Darren Waller was their number 1 wide receiver last year. They literally put him at the number 1, would run him at like post fades and stuff. So you need to fix that, because if you have him going down the middle and you got a solid number 1, it's so much more effective than just them having to double team Waller and you having maybe looking for Renfro down the middle in the slot. But
the offense is like early 2000s, and it's like, why are you doing early 2000s? You don't like
exactly.
We're 2021, John.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can't.
He still does Spider Banana XYZ over 6 on 2. Like, what?
Oh yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I forgot you're a Bucks fan. So
it's just like, remember before he was a coach, he would do the like the rookies. He would do the little. I don't know what the show was called.
Oh yeah, I used to love that. Yeah.
So he'll like, the rookies will show him, and then he'll show them, and then they'll go on the field, and he'll just call like what QB is supposed to like remember this stuff? X
See, the
spider Y Z X A
Patriots,
B C D E F G.
the Patriots verbiage is like that. It's like 10 words. It's super hard, and the Dolphins used it, and that's why part of the reason why we're so lost on offense in 2019. We had to kick that stuff to the curb. That's for another day, though. The verbiage, though,
Hope
it
not.
could get extreme. It could get extreme. I'm telling you, though. He might be for real, but just using crazy words maybe to try to distract them a little bit, I would think. Trying to get a true feel for what they know. But for number 14, you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Number 14, I got Kirk Cousins, which is a guy everyone hates on because in the
Oh my gosh.
he doesn't. Oh, 14, you bro. Keep on thinking you're trying me for putting him there, but
No.
no, you got him there. No.
Yeah.
When you first react, I'm like, but I haven't heard you say them on the list, so I know they're coming up. So that's crazy,
Yeah.
though.
It's weird.
I swear we didn't cheat off each other, but it works out perfectly this way. I like it. But Kirk Cousins, he got the weapons he needed, and he showed what he could do with them. He put up the numbers. I don't know what they are off the top of my head because I didn't.
35 touchdowns, 13 picks,
Yeah, so that's like top
over
notch.
4,000 yards as well.
Yeah. So there wasn't the. I mean, you can't make the excuse he has two top 10 wide receiver in the NFL and a top 15 wide receiver in the NFL. But outside of that, and a top 10 running back too. But he was a little shaken up last year. Outside of that, that's not really the best of teams to be on the offensive line. They're getting up there in age. I know they got Riley O'Neal and guys like that. I can't really even think of off the top of my head. I know they drafted someone this year. I forgot who it is, but yeah, that's one thing they need to work on. Offense, they're pretty much settled there. I feel like they're one tight end away from really being super explosive. And I always really believed in Kirk Cousins, even back when probably like 2013 he got drafted in 2012. I remember that because I was big on quarterbacks that year because my team needed one, drafting Tannehill, which we'll get on later. But Kirk Cousins, yeah, he showed what he can do with what he had, but he just needs to make that playoff push and play with the guys like Diggs and shown what he can do before. I don't was he playing for them when they went to the playoffs with Diggs, or was that Case Keenum?
When you mean when Marcus Williams?
Yeah,
No, that was Keenum.
that was Keenum. Okay. Well, Kirk Cousins, I feel like, yeah, at this point he solidified himself as definitely, I would say, a top 15 quarterback at least, especially putting up the numbers he did with, I mean, the weapons excuse. You can make the same excuse for guys like Tom Brady and whoever, but he did it. So those are freaking. I would say probably Deshaun Watson and Mahomes are the only ones that threw more than 35 touchdowns I can think of. So just if I'm going off last season's evaluations, I'd probably have him higher. What do you think?
You know, a lot.
You're pretty much on par with Kirk Cousins.
The only thing is get him a better defense
No, yeah, exactly.
and a better O line.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted a lot of that O line, so hopefully those guys can pan out.
100% stay healthy and stuff like that. Got an old head coach, but I think in Mike Zimmer, old mindset head coach, but I think it's the scheme's worked out. So just the team's not really quite there yet, but he only has it's kind of hard to tell with quarterbacks and age these days, but he is going in his 9th year. So I would get it going now before he gets too old, wants to move on to the next team.
Yeah.
You want to move on to 13? You want to hit on it in a little more?
Cool.
All right. I got Baker Mayfield at 13.
Okay, so we don't have the same guy.
All right, that would have been freaking like math class, bro. I used to try to cheat off you. My vision was a little bad though.
My handwriting was bad.
Probably would have bombed. It's okay though. It's okay. I think I did a a few times, but I would take a little bit off each kid around me. I'd try to the little Mexican girl next to me. She had that gas pack. I'd usually get an 80 with her. But my vision, bro, I need the glasses, bro. The glasses. That's what's
Jeez.
off with me. But 13, Baker Mayfield. He did it. He was proven this year when his wide receiver core was out with COVID. Obviously, he didn't put up the numbers. He did lose to the Jets, but they made it to the playoffs. He was just right there. And I feel like with the weapons and what they brought in this year, who'd they get on the other side of the edge? They brought in Jadeveon Clowney. They brought or Odell Beckham's back. They got the freaking double punch at running back. The offensive line's the best in the NFL by far. Baker Mayfield's a top quarterback. It's pretty much established. I think this year might sneak him into the top 10, depending on what these other guys do. But yeah, he's the real deal. And I know what 1 or 2 years from now, or like people like Rex Ryan were saying that he's not it, but I think that narrative's kind of died down, especially what he did this year without Odell, and they lost OJ Howard, and he did what he had to do, and he freaking put up. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but
They don't have OJ Howard.
oh, I mean David Njoku.
Say, don't try my Buccaneers,
Bro, they're both bust, bro. It doesn't matter.
What? Oh,
Let's see. Here, I forgot. Maybe OJ Howard was putting up those numbers. He's all right. That's for another day. That's one video you, me, and Austin need to do. Like reasons why our team's gonna win the chip this year. I'm sure.
you shouldn't be in that, man.
Oh, dude.
You should not be in that.
Be in the conversation. Do you think the 6-10 Patriots got enough weapons to elevate themselves into Super Bowl position?
And
I think the 10-6
no.
Bro, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how do you get 2 first overall picks, 2 second overall picks, and didn't lose anyone from last year, besides old players, high contracts, and expect them to do worse? Like, how are you going to tell me that?
They're not going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, not the Super, bro. Obviously, that's like hypothetical, but we need to throw Austin a softball video idea. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't have to do all this research. So I feel like that's off-putting for him, especially the amount of notes you and me do. It's like a school report. Off topic though. Who are we on? Baker Mayfield for me. Who you got at number 13?
I got Kyler Murray. It's so tough because that offense is so like weird. It's like it's spread.
Like it.
What happened?
There's nothing like it. My bad for cutting you off, but
no, it's just weird to me. I mean, when you add in DeAndre Hopkins, it's not that weird anymore. But their receiving core, they have a good
it's crazy
pass catching group, but it's just Kyler Murray has to really take over. 26-12 this past year, 20-12 his rookie year. Same 3,000 yards passing guy. His numbers look
at the almost, rushing. I'm sure the rushing.
Yeah, rushing is definitely different, but
you got to add that, especially in 2021. That's definitely. I mean, Cam Newton, he had 12 rushing. He had more rushing touchdowns, I think, than passing last year. So it's just all circumstantial. If he had the weapons, I think that would have added more to his passing. So
he had 11 rushing touchdowns this year, almost 1,000 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly, dude. If you put that into consideration, dude, what do you have? 4,600 yards and how many touchdowns?
Yeah, he had 3,000 yards, 3,900.
3,900 passing yards.
Yeah.
So on top of 1,000 rushing yards, so he had about 5,000 yards last year.
Almost 1,000 yards.
About
Yeah,
5,000.
819.
All right, so how many
Jeez,
passing
just
touchdowns?
gassing him up.
But
26
I'm saying
passing.
you got to take that into consideration because if you look at Trey Lance, when he threw 2,500 yards, but he had 1,000, 1,200, whatever rushing yards. That's why he's a top 3 pick. Like it's 2021. If you can make plays like that, it's gonna be freaking. It's a whole new ball game. Like
Yeah,
remember how dominant Cam Newton was back in his day when no one was doing stuff like that, and that's the way the NFL's kind of transitioned. If you can get out of the pocket and get those 10 yards and break out for a freaking Daniel Jones type play and not fumble it before the goal line. You know what I'm saying? And then that's a whole new bonus to your team.
for sure. But it's just, I don't know, man. And he's definitely good. And he's definitely going to be good for a little while. But in terms of Super Bowl type tier, he has to really take that next step
Oh no, yeah, for sure,
in the
for sure.
passing category.
No, yeah, 100%. I
He
feel
has to
like give
be like 30 and I'll say not even, okay, less than 10 picks, 4,000 yards. That would be like on top of his rushing. That's
I feel like in a 5 wide set, you're kind of asking them to make a lot of these throws a normal quarterback wouldn't have to make, or more difficult throws
for sure. But that's just,
that could kind of impede on his
it's kind of what he wanted though. So
No, I
you
know,
got
but
what
I
you
think
want.
his stats panned out great in my opinion with friggin' 4,900 total yards and how many passing touchdowns?
26.
26. So 37 total touchdowns. That's probably up there with the best of them. But if you look at the wins, obviously they but their defense is a little outdated. They need to do a little work there, and I think their offensive line isn't the best in my opinion. I think they got DJ Fluker. Outside of that, I couldn't even tell you about DJ Fluker. See, I couldn't
Humphreys,
DJ Humphreys. Yeah.
Florida native, by the way.
I guess I got from the Chargers or something like that. Doesn't matter. They don't really have much of the offensive line, so that could also have an impact on his game too. I would really have to look into that, but yeah, I think he's going to be one of the top names up there for next decade, in my opinion. So I have him a little higher. A little higher, yeah. I got him sneaking in the top 10, but that's for another video. My number 12 is, I was going to ask you, but my number 12 is Ryan Tannehill. I think I would want to put him higher, but there's just so many guys on the list that I think their ceiling's not quite hit all the way, and just more maybe, I don't know. He needs to make that step in the playoffs. Maybe where did they make it to the divisional round or the conference championship last year? You know?
Division. I know. I think yeah, divisional. What does it go?
Division or wild card division, conference championship, and Super Bowl.
I think they lost in the wild card.
I think they lost in the division. I don't know.
Because they played the Ravens.
That's the only thing I can really say bad about him, because you watch his game, pinpoint accuracy. It's almost like he stops the time and like walks over and hands the person the ball. Like that's how perfect it is. He could put it wherever he wants. It's comeback routes and anything on the inside, outside. It's just so clean and crisp. I wouldn't say he really launches the ball with power, but his velocity and the way he lets go of it, it just a perfect throw near about, I'd say 90% of the time. And that's coming from experience from watching him play 8 years, bro. Sorry if you heard that. That's my girl. That's my ringtone for my girlfriend texting me. But what was I saying? Yeah, he just needs to get that playoff, that next step in the playoff push, and I feel like that could really solidify him in the top 10 because the numbers there, the plays there, but he just needs to. There's too many guys in front of him that I think are still growing. So this year, I think they're gonna play better than they did last year, and more proven guys I think in front of him. So it's hard to sneak him in the top 10, but he arguably a top 10 quarterback for sure. Who do you get at 12?
Pretty nice debate there. Justin Herbert. Rookie year, like we haven't seen in a little while.
A long time.
31 touchdowns, 10 picks, 4,300 passing yards. I mean, it was just so good to see, but then he started 15 games, 6-9. He got sacked 32 times. That's the biggest thing in 15 games.
Yeah, they did bulk up on the offensive line, so
They did.
Yeah.
That and the defense did not help him out really at all because Derwin James was hurt, Bosa was hurt. Was Bosa hurt? Yeah, Bosa.
Yeah, and Melvin Ingram was pretty banged up too, or kind of
so
non-existent. So
you didn't really have much.
Yeah, for real.
No, everybody coming back. Hopefully they can stay healthy, especially what's his name? Derwin James. I'm about to say freaking.
Yeah, I don't know what coach they brought in too, so that's going to be a big factor into playing that. But
the young guy has to learn another offense. It's gonna be
for real. Yeah, for real. That's a big, especially with quarterbacks. It's I don't know. It's never the perfect time. So you gotta. It's more adversity to fight through, and I think that makes you a better quarterback at the end of the day. Because I don't know, you look at guys like Drew Brees, you never get thrown in the perfect situation. It takes time. Tannehill especially, look at him. You get thrown in the goddamn ringer. And then now look at him. He's freaking automatic. You can say the Titans are almost like a guaranteed freaking playoff team. You know what I'm saying? And he went from the Dolphins that were going 7-9 automatically and 6-10. Whatever it was back then. Let's wrap this up though. It's freaking, what is it? Oh, it's only 11:20. I think we're doing good, but my number 11's Tom Brady.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I think I could arguably put him higher, but I just think he had everything a team or a quarterback can ask for last year. So I don't know. He wasn't. I feel like if he was back in New England, he would have put up a fraction of the numbers he did. Definitely wouldn't have made it to the Super Bowl. I don't know. It's hard to tell with him because he's a cold-blooded killer, bro. So he's gonna prove me wrong every time. But it's just I don't know. He was in an Alabama type offense, dude. It was just freaking. It was nuts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. No, I don't. But hey,
Mike Evans, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Was Godwin hurt last year?
He was hurt off, and he was hurt. But
that's one thing I can give you. And OJ Howard, I think, got hurt or something like that. But Cameron Brate stepped up though. Because even Scott Miller, you guys even gave him the white boy slot that he mixes so well with, and he's gonna turn out to be Julian Edelman one. Just kidding, but I don't know. He looked good. He looked good, bro. You never know. You guys got a solid offensive line. You guys
solid, I think, bro.
What?
Solid.
More you think better than so? Oh wait, let me think.
Tristan Wirfs was the
Alvin best. That's the only one I really know off the top of my head.
Tristan Wirfs, Ryan Jensen,
yeah.
Donovan Smith. All right, guard is so weird.
All right, nah. You guys are up there with, I would say probably at least top 12. Maybe we can make that a video. That'd probably be a little boring one, but I think Tom Brady, he pretty much in the perfect situation for the perfect player. So I don't think age is really a factor in him. I think he's going to be 80 and right up there with the best of them. But I don't know. You throw any of the quarterbacks I think that I have above him in that same situation. I think I wouldn't say the playoff experience would really probably mesh as well to do with Brady, because that shootout with Rodgers, that was like that was amazing, dude. That was to end the year on that. Like I almost wish I didn't even watch it. Well, I'm sure you enjoyed the Super Bowl, but it was a boring ass game.
I mean, for sure, but
Not as
I-
bad as the Rams and Patriots Super Bowl. I'll give you that.
Jeez,
It
that
was pretty
was
bad though.
at least we scored a touchdown, man.
No, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think Brady, just the experience factor is going to give him when you get him in the playoffs. I think that's the one thing he has above all these guys, pretty much above him except for the number one. So that's one thing I would say. But if you put in, let's for example, actually I'm not even gonna ruin my list, but I was gonna say my number 10 and throwing him in the Buccaneers. Yeah, we'll save that for another video. But I'm sure you have 1,000 arguments, but to say on top of my statements right there. But let's have you get to number 11.
Yes. The guy you just said, Ryan Tannehill.
Uh,
He had a good year. He's gonna have a better year next year for sure. If he doesn't, then he sucks.
no, 100%. Yeah, for real. Unless Derrick Henry freaking blows out his knee, I could see that the run game and it being on his shoulders, maybe that would mess him up a little bit.
And God forbid that happens, Johnny.
No, yeah, that's like, bro, I think a negative Dolphins. I don't even know why I said that, to be honest with you, but that's like the worst situation I could think of. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I feel you.
dude, I don't know. He pisses me off, dude. He pisses me off, Derrick Henry, bro. Because like his first year, he wasn't looking like it, and then he comes in and just takes the crown the next 2 years. And like, dude, I can't see him falling off anytime soon. And that's not like the thing that's going on with running backs nowadays. You got like 1 or 2 years, and then it's done, bro. But with him, I feel like he's gonna dominate the next decade. I had to try to fix that statement somehow.
You tried.
I tried.
Definitely tried.
I'm just trying to think of the worst circumstance, bro, because that team's set up for like literal guaranteed playoffs. Can't really talk me out of that. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
If Derrick Henry got hurt, it'd be a question mark, a shrug of the shoulders. That's what I meant to say. It just came out harsh. My bad. What a way to end.
Yeah, for sure. Just talking about guy blowing out his knee. Yeah, for sure. Definitely
Thank God
good.
no one makes it this far. I think one time I talked about. I'm not even gonna bring that up. You probably need to cut that out. It's gonna be hidden. It's gonna be hidden because if anyone makes it this far, I appreciate you guys. You guys made it this far. That's awesome. But there's that one person.
At least. I know exactly who they are too. It's crazy.
Yeah, me too, bro. They're just waiting for me to voice crack or something,
Oh, okay.
Out them up. Huh?
No. Thank y'all for watching. It's been real. This is Johnny McCaskey.
I had a good time, bro. I love this. This is what I look forward to every week. I appreciate it.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for bringing me on. You end it?
It's always towards the end that you just
I can't anymore, bro. I can't talk for this long. My girlfriend's blowing me up with stuff. I got the Pornhub ringtone